Hello friends, and welcome to Figure Study, where we appreciate the form in Transformers. Today I'm taking a look at another one of the Terracons? These are the Terracons, right? I think these are the Terracons. It's the guys who make up Abominus. And today it is Power of the Prime's Blot. This guy was surprisingly difficult to find, outside of ordering him online. I lucked out, actually. I was in a Target in Michigan, of all places, while Diana and I were on vacation, and they just so happened to have Blot sitting there on the shelf, so now I have Blot. And Blot is a strange little ogre goblin thing, but I like him quite a bit. I mean, ultimately, he is essentially a box with tiny arms and legs, but what's there totally works. And I actually really like this little guy. He's fun. He's simple and fun. He does not hold a candle to Unique Toys Troll, as you'd expect, but he also costs like 1/4 the price, so not really gonna complain. But there's some really neat stuff going on with this guy. Again, simple shape, simple form, but much like Whippersnapper, I really like how this guy works in his beast mode. I actually like his beast mode, or monster mode, even more than the robot mode. And he's just this kind of cute little hunched up thing with these tiny little legs and these really big claws, which are just kind of fun. Not a whole lot of paint going on here. There's a little bit on the toes, and weirdly, there's a little bit on the claws here, but it's like a very similar bit of purple to what's here, so I don't know why they painted this and not why they didn't paint it some other color, why it had to be similar to purple, why they didn't just leave it, why are these painted, and the only other thing in this mode that's painted is like the chest and eye bit there. Don't really know why, but it's fine. The colors are nice and crisp. The yellow does kind of get washed out by the silver, but it's fine for what it is. The red looks good, but the application here isn't as good as it could be. It's weird. It's like around here it's fine, but then they painted the red a little bit on the inside of the lip here, but then here they really didn't, and that kind of stands out a bit when you're looking at it from an angle. It just makes this more noticeable that that's blue plastic, and there the red kind of goes in a little bit more, but whatever. Another weird thing, now that I'm looking at this, the toes actually aren't painted. What is painted is this entire section of foot, because this is actually the dark blue plastic, but then this is the dark purple plastic, so I don't know why they didn't just make the foot the same shade of plastic and paint the toes. And this purple doesn't quite match this purple, and this purple's not the same shade as this other purple that they painted, so it's like a strange combination of slightly not the same shade purples. It's weird nitpicking, really. As for the head works. It's doesn't do a great job of hiding the robot head, but, it's fine. And I do think this actually looks kind of neat. It's just it's monstery, but it's also very boxy and robotic. It's kind of best of both worlds, I guess. I'm not entirely sure if it needed more paint or not. I feel like some extra detailing, like paint detailing in there, would definitely help. But then there's so much going on right here, it's almost a little bit too much. But still, I do like this guy. I like his stumpy, squat self with the giant claws. I think I do kind of wish, as I'm looking at this, that there was a little bit of that dark blue in the legs, because as it is, when you're looking at him like this, it's like this dark blue ball with purple hands, and then everything down there is purple, and it's just kind of but he's still fun. And then there's this thing, which I kind of hate, this dongle up here. Yeah, you can attach the gun to it, and it works as like a cannon thing, but I feel like they could have easily put a peg hole up here, or at the bottom of a foot, or something like that, where you could just toss it in there, or, it could have pegged in somewhere without needing this, because this is just unsightly and stupid. I really don't like this. There's no good way to remove it because it's pinned in, and it's one solid piece, so if I did want to get rid of it, I'd basically have to cut this off. And I really don't want to do that because I don't want to risk damaging anything else. But yeah, I hate this thing. It doesn't need to exist. They really could have done that differently. But anyway, let's do some size comparisons really quick. And here we have Blot with Ripper Snapper. And in monster mode, he is a little bit shorter, but he's also a lot more dense than Ripper Snapper. Like, Ripper Snapper is kind of boxy still, but like he's thinner, arguably sleeker, whereas Blot is, like I said, is pretty much just a ball with claws and tiny little legs. But they do look good together. They definitely look good together. I wish I was into the Terracons enough to get the entire set, but now that I've managed to get my hands on the entirety of Unique Toys Orden, I don't really see a need to get all of the others, because I'm not super into what is it, Sinner Twin, and oh, what's the other one? Whatever the bird thing is it Razor Claw? No, it's not Razor Claw. Razor Claw is the Predacon team. Whatever the pterodactyl monster bird thing is, I'm not into that one, or Sinner Twin. Hunger's alright, but these two are pretty much the ones that I really wanted to get from the Power of the Prime set, and I have them now, so yeah, not really thinking I'll be getting the rest of the team. But anyway, that is going to do it for Blot's Blot mode. So let's get him into his Roblot mode. Yeah, I said it. And here we have Blot in his robot mode. Yeah, I'm only going to make that joke once, sorry. Once was enough, right? And he's a fairly normal-looking robot. He's got some nifty kind of Wolverine-style claws on his arms there, but other than that, fairly normal-looking. The chest has detail that's evocative of the whatever mode, but not quite as intense. You still have the yellow and the silver there, with the red is now up at the shoulders, but that's fine. The yellow still kind of gets washed out by the silver, but I can appreciate the detail. The Decepticon logo on the chest I'm not a fan of. I kind of wish that they did something similar to Ripper Snapper, in that maybe have the flip down panel thing that hides the port for the Prime Armor, like maybe have that a different color, maybe even the purple, I don't know. I just feel like that strip going down the middle, it just looks too plain to me. And then, of course, you get the unpainted purple all in the waist and thighs section. Not a lot going on color-wise with the fists, but you do get a little bit of added detail for the knees and the shins there. I think overall it works. I mean, the color breakup is decent. The color palette is nice. The dark blue and the purple with the silver definitely work. I just wish there was a bit more color breakup in the arms and kind of this area right in here. That's still cool. Plenty of nice molded detail. I like the design of these shins. Like, from the knees down, I really like the designs of these legs. They're just something very chunky and robotic about them in a way that feels a little different to me that I really like. It kind of fits with Ripper Snapper too, in a way, in that it's sort of like the feet, ankles, and shins are a bit closer in width and bulk, and it kind of makes it look like one really large stompy shin, which is just not something I typically am used to with Transformers figures, and I kind of like the look. Not saying it's something I'd want to see replace regular shins and ankles and all that, but I like it here. And again, that light blue and silver detail. Now, the light blue, I'm not entirely sold on because it doesn't really show up anywhere else, just on the shins, and I don't know why. Like, I don't know why that couldn't have been either yellow or red to kind of tie into the torso section. And then for the fists, again, you've got, here you can see much more clearly how you've got that like purple paint, but it doesn't make any sense as to why, and if they painted that, why couldn't they have painted this claw that same purple, because then it would kind of carry through. I don't know. I do, however, love the way this fist is designed, as a lot of people tend to. because it gives you this really neat kind of three-clawed Wolverine thing going here, and then transforming into the monster claw is so simple. You just flip the fist in, and suddenly that comes around and becomes the thumb, and it's such a simple but incredibly effective design. And it's one of those things that I really appreciate with Hasbro and Takara. I guess primarily Takara in this case, I don't know. But it's the kind of thing I really appreciate with the official Transformers, how sometimes they find these remarkably simple ways to do really clever things. And sometimes the third parties tend to kind of overthink that a bit. And the torso, here you can still see like the yellow and the silver, which just, it bleeds together a bit. And that logo there is a little too tiny for my liking. I kind of wish it was a bit bigger and maybe went up in there, kind of break up that dark blue a little bit more. And that face, not super into the helmet. That boxy pastel purple Decepticon logo looking helmet just isn't really doing it for me. I like the sharp contrast between the red and the silver. I'm just not a huge fan of the purple. I don't know if it's accurate to the toy. I feel like the toy had the dark blue. I don't know that the dark blue would necessarily be better, but I'm just not a fan of that purple. What's interesting too is there's just these little lines kind of breaking up the silver bits on the face there, and it kind of makes it look like he's, I don't know, like almost old and grizzled, even though they're like kind of uniform and robotic looking. But like when you view him from a distance, it kind of adds texture to his face, which I don't know that I necessarily like, but I don't dislike, and it's something a little bit different. And I'm okay with that. Also, he's got kind of a Robert Zadar chin going there, which is strange, but I kind of like the strange. Though now that I'm looking at this under the lights, I'm noticing that this blue for the combiner peg is actually a different shade of blue than the rest of the blue here, so that's kind of annoying. Not a deal breaker, just kind of annoying. As with Ripper Snapper, I'm not as into the robot mode as I am the monster mode, but that's kind of what I expected. And it's the thing that I really like about these guys, is the fact that they're these really interesting and unique looking monsters, but the robot modes, generally speaking, are kind of unremarkable. But that's what I really like about them, the fact that they go from these like very strange, unorthodox, and interesting looking monsters to fairly run-of-the-mill looking robots. It's a really interesting contrast. Move him over here so that we can talk a little bit more about contrasts. As we bring in Ripper Snapper, and you can see again, they're both fairly normal-ish looking robots, with the exception of the claws on both of their hands, interestingly enough. Also, you can kind of see Ripper Snapper has a similar kind of ankleless boot motif to Blot. Though I do have to give it to Ripper Snapper in the sense that the torso decoration and knee decoration, like, well, torso and shin knee decorations, I think, work a lot better with Ripper Snapper than with Blot. Not that I think Blot's is terrible, it's just there's much more defined color breakup with Ripper Snapper, both in the chest, torso, and even in that little panel that covers up the prime armor peg hole. There's more color variation with the knees, there's a little bit more paint going on lower down on the leg, and the colors actually mimic what's going on in the rest of the body, rather than having this turquoise that doesn't show up anywhere else. Oh, okay, it's not turquoise, it's light blue, but still, that does not show up anywhere else on Blot, and that's kind of annoying. It does sort of coincide with the lighter blue on Ripper Snapper's claws and kind of midriff area there. So I guess bringing them in as a team, you start to see more color cohesion here, because they've got the same silver, the same red, the same yellow, and the same light blue, more or less. So I guess, yeah, that does lend some cohesiveness to the design and colors, but taken on his own, those colors needed to be distributed a little bit more uniformly, or evenly, I should say, throughout the rest of them, but it's fine. And height-wise, he is, modern deluxe size. And with that, I do believe I am done talking about Power of the Primes Blot. I definitely am into this guy. Don't know if I can say that I like him better than Ripper Snapper, but I don't know that I can say I like him less than Ripper Snapper either. They both definitely do their own thing. There are some vague similarities. For some reason, the shoulder assemblies on Blot are actually the same as with Ripper Snapper. Like, he's got this bit that comes down that kind of pushes the shoulders out and brings them down for the monster mode, and Ripper Snapper actually does have that mechanism in his torso, but it doesn't attach quite right. Like, it's in there too hard to really come out, and then it doesn't really stay in here. You can see it just pops right out. So I pretty much just have to keep it in like that. I can't really pull it out like I do with Blot. So I'm not sure if that's just them saving on parts in terms of mold use and stuff, or if it's supposed to come out with Ripper Snapper and I'm just doing it wrong. But I do like this with Blot, how that can kind of rework his shoulders a bit to kind of further push that monster angle. But anyway, both neat figures, both fun. I enjoy the transformations for them both. While they are similar to other Combiner Wars figures and Power of the Primes figures, it's still fun. And I mean similar in places, not entirely. Again, I really love that contrast where you've got the ho-hum looking robot that transforms into a horrific monster. It's pretty neat. Anyway, that is it for Blot, and that is more than enough of what I think. What do you all think? Have any of you out there gotten your hands on Power of the Primes Blot yet, or any of the other Terrorcons? Do you think maybe I should try and track down Sinner Twin and the bird thing that I can never remember? Cutthroat. Cutthroat is its name. Okay, Cutthroat. You think I should try and track down Cutthroat and Sinner Twin just so that I can have the whole team? Because I do actually have Hunger, but he's currently listed on eBay because I haven't been considering really keeping him. But I don't know, maybe I should. Maybe I'm being silly. Are any of you curious to see what, if anything, Toy Hacks comes up with in terms of repro labels for these guys? Because I feel like just a little bit of added detail here and there with maybe some stickers or paint could make an even bigger difference with all of these guys. I do kind of hope that Toy Hacks puts out some repro labels for Blot, because he's just kind of plain in places. He's still fun. I still really like him. I still really like messing with him, but he could definitely use a little bit more color breakup in other places than just the chest. Whatever your thoughts, feel free to comment down below. I always enjoy hearing from you all. And while you're at it, also feel free to like or subscribe. Any of those things would make me a happy Rob. And remember, art is more than meets the eye.